You're watching another new car spin. I'm Brian, and this is the Volvo XC90, 60? Nope. This is actually the V60 Cross Country, or V60cc. It is basically a lifted wagon. They used to make the V60 Wagon, but they decided, hey, let's lift the wagon and give it all-wheel drive and put a turbo 4-cylinder in there with a hybrid setup, but not a plug-in hybrid setup. And we're going to call it the V60 B5 all-wheel drive. And this one's actually Polestar tuned. So Polestar is the tuning arm of Volvo, and it basically gives it just a little bit more power, which it needs, to be honest. You can open and close the trunk from the key. We have a obviously a power trunk. We have, I don't know what that is, probably the let's figure this out. Oh yeah, the emergency triangle, which is probably more of a European thing, but we don't have here in the US. This actually can be stowed away, but it can also, there we go, be lifted up as well. I'm not sure about that. I don't like these things, but you could always put it there. Something you need to know about is it does have a spare tire. Actually, what else is back here? The jack. And yeah, it's pretty Spartan back here. Let's close that up. Now, we are in a weird time, and that is because if we look around, it's just everything's new. I'm in a part of Frisco, Texas, kind of the last part of Frisco, Texas that's being built out. And let's just say it's pretty quiet around here. And I think it's the same thing for new car sales. And, you know, we're kind of in this weird zone because of what's on the market right now. It's stuff like this. They used to do a T5 and a T6, and the T6 was supercharged and turbocharged. This is basically what was the B5, or the T5, which is the B5. Let me pop the hood, I'll tell you what that means. And it's pretty loaded. Obviously, it's pretty loaded. I'd never get a press car that's Spartan. We'll talk about the stereo in a minute. And the seats are amazing. Volvo always makes great seats. And this is why you would buy one. Because if you are a Subaru fan and you're kind of tired of Subarus, where's that hood release? It's way in there. There it is. Basically, you know, or maybe you can afford more than a Subaru and you do a lot of cross-country driving, or you just like do a lot of I don't know, road trips with the team or whatever. This is a good setup to have. Wow, that hood really opens up. Dang. And the hood's not even lined. Look at that crash protection design for the crumple zone and everything they have got going on here. Volvos are obviously renowned for their safety. This is the 2025. And yeah, I wouldn't want to work on it. But someone's got to do it. Close this hood. All right. Do we have headlight washers? Yes, we do have headlight washers. Pretty nice headlights, although on the 90 series, which is the bigger version of it, the headlights are much better. These are good, but they're not fantastic. But let's talk about the Subaru. Basically, this is a weird segment because it's a wagon, but it's not a wagon because it's lifted. So it's a little bit more off-roady, but it's not really that off-roady like a SUV or CUV, but it's lower. So basically, you can reach the roof. So if you got a roof rack and you got bikes or surfboards or even snowboards, maybe you just use this for a winter car or whatever, like you can actually reach it. It's actually shoulder height. So it's very convenient to have something that you don't have to like reach over or get a step stool to get over. This is just the right height. And I think this is why Subarus are so popular. In this case, the Volvo is much better than the Subaru because of the comfort, the solid. Listen to this door. Ready? I mean, oh my God. This thing's a tank. All right. So you know what you're getting when you spend $60,000 on a fully loaded one like this. 63 maybe. This one's definitely on the higher end because of the stereo that's in there, which is, oh, and these 22-inch wheels. P0 all season Pirellis, obviously. Volvo manufacturer branded tire. 20s. These are 20s. Sorry. Okay, so you're just getting more than what you would get with a Subaru. And that's a good thing because you can afford it. You know, you don't have to have a Subaru. You don't have to have another Volvo SUV like everybody else. You can go Wagon. And I mean, obviously you saw the trunk. It's not a 3-row. So the space back here is pretty easy to access if you pull this. The headrests fold, and this, look at that, it folds flat. Now you have to go to the other side to do that. I actually didn't see any releases back here to do that. Nope, so there are no releases here, but you could just reach it right there. Just push forward on it. There you go. Now, I think this can be, and that's metal. All right, no plastic garbage here. I think it can be stowed down here where I thought I saw something. Nope, I guess not. I don't know where you'd put that in the end. That's why I don't like those things. But folds flat. Lots of room. So if you're kind of like, you know, I don't know whatever you're into, but I think that looks like a lot of room. Okay, we also have rear air vents, which is good if you have pets because they get air not only in the middle, but outboard air vents as well. Pretty nice. Okay, close this up, get inside. Look how big the sill is here because they have this off-road style cladding. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it definitely may be a little challenging, but because it's higher up than the Wagon used to be, just the V60, this is the V60cc, right? It's a little easier to get in and out of because it's higher up. Now getting inside, if you're familiar with the Volvos in the last 5 years, this looks pretty familiar to you, which is a good thing. We have obviously stitched dash material, let's just call it that. This is not leather. But I'm sure it'll last longer than leather, over 20 years. This is probably made to last. This is softer than my girlfriend. And spare yourself the fleshlight jokes. What else do we have here? The big panoramic roof, obviously. And the weirdest thing is the, whatever that is, to open and close. You just kind of flick it or finger it. Don't quite know what to say about that. And obviously, if you're kind of like doing this kind of thing, you may accidentally touch this button, which turns on and off the dome lights. And if you keep your hand there too long, it will permanently turn off the door dome lights, which makes it very confusing. How do you turn them back on? You just have to hold your finger on there and then see how it turns orange. That means it's disabled. So good luck figuring that out. Glove box, typical Volvo glove box, pretty big. Let's get the window sticker out here for you. 2025 V60 Cross Country B5 all-wheel drive Ultra, meaning probably fully loaded, 64,000. But look at the price there for the 20-inch wheels, $3,200. Look at the next one, Bowers & Wilkins Premium Sound, given away not only by that stage tweeter there, but by the grill covers here, these silver covers with the speaker just peeking behind it. Otherwise, you get a Harman Kardon system, which is okay, but this Bowers & Wilkins, if you are into road trips or you love music, this is the way to go. So essentially, we're at $6,400 over the normal price of $55,000. So yeah, you could have it for a lot less than $64,000. You can get it under $60,000, maybe $58,000. And then that stupid luggage cover, $390,000. The climate package, not quite sure what that is. I don't remember. But because this is the Ultra, we do have heads-up display. All the Volvos have this instrument cluster and digital format. Oh yeah, we also have the adaptive radar cruise auto self lane correcting anti-collision stuff here, which is cool because Volvos will actually counter steer against oncoming traffic, and also just they do really well at traffic avoidance, emergency measures. This interior is great. This color is great. And what I want to do is start it, because this is the hybrid, but not the plug-in hybrid, which is 455 horsepower. This thing is considerably less than the preceding V60, which had a T6 supercharged turbocharged engine. This is just a turbo mild hybrid. What happens is you don't hear it actually starting up like you would hear in the typical Volvo starting sound. And you still start it here, foot on the brake, and you turn this knob, but you don't hear a starter. It just turns on. Listen to this. Literally just on. So strange. And that's, I think, because it's using the hybrid motor to start the vehicle, and it's also using that motor to basically do the energy regeneration, which is identified by that little battery icon there. So it handles everything for you. Compared to the Volvos I'm used to, which were like the 2020 models, we have gotten rid of Census apparently and gone with this Google system. So you don't really need Android Auto anymore because it's built into the car. So as long as you sign in, you can see your maps and pull up your addresses and stuff like that. So it already knows where my home is and everything. And you can log in here with whatever you have, and then let's see, sign out. No, I'm just going to change. Okay, so basically we have our settings here now. So instead of swiping the screen up and down and left and right and doing all this, now you just have fewer selections. I cannot, obviously they've gotten rid of the drive selection here. There used to be this nice knurled wheel thing. Now they've put it into the screen, and there's no shortcut to it, and it sometimes is laggy to pull up. And instead of a sport mode, we have a Polestar mode, and that disables, when you're in that mode, it disables the auto stop start. So there is no auto stop start memory anymore like there used to be, where the engine won't shut off, because this is the hybrid. It also doesn't keep the air conditioning running, which is weird because most hybrids do. So it has pros and cons, and I would say this is why we're in a weird time, because it's pretty clear to me that Volvo made this car to take advantage of government, green energy, blah, 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 puke in your face, carbon credit, tax, everyone pays, except the people actually benefiting from it. So Volvo didn't go full retard and do electric like Dodge did with their Charger, their new two-door EV, which is a failure. Volvo instead decided we're going to go fully electric, and they did by just basically hybridizing these cars. But then they also have a plug-in hybrid version of this, which is 455 horsepower, so it's double the horsepower of this. And I would say that's nice, but when you do that, the batteries in that full hybrid one have the battery pack in the center tunnel here, and there's only an electric motor to the rear wheels, and that really does get into the cabin space here. Whereas here in this regular mild hybrid model, we still have a decent amount of storage space in here, which is the biggest challenge in that T8 version. But now that we're in the B5, geez, what can I do? Oh yeah, I can show you a couple things here. The systems are pretty much the same, but this is the air quality thing. The other day we had a sandstorm flying through here from like New Mexico, just some terrible quality meth air, and I'll show you a quick clip of what happened there. And the only downside really is that this HVAC system is actually kind of noisy, and you don't have an auto control on the actual fan speed. You have to go into this screen here and then set the fan speed, and it stays there every time. So you have to manually fidget around here, which isn't good, really. So even if I put it on auto, it stays in 1. But what I notice is that 1 and 2 barely put out any air, and it's kind of noisy. Let me close this door. All I hear in this car all the time is this fan. And that's at 2, even at 1. That's pretty noisy. Max? It seems to put off much more air now. But listen to that. I don't think I can hear anybody in the back if they were talking. Maybe that's the important part. Okay, I'm going to close this sunroof. Ugh. Wow. And then, of course, if you do it a second time, the shade comes in. And there's a setting where you can have the shade auto close when you park. If it's hot out, it'll auto close. It'll even remember to open itself back up again. I'm gonna put my seatbelt on here. Let's get this screen off. Oh yeah, when the fan is on high, it seems to blow a little warmer. So beyond the fact that it's a very clean air system, and then if you hit auto, it goes all the way back to 1, which is dumb. I'll put it on 3. You'll still have to hear it though. It doesn't seem like it blows cold air at high speed, which in Texas is probably going to be a big problem. I know it has kind of been a concern in my other Volvos, but with this big cabin of the Wagon versus the sedan, which is the platform this is based on, this is a lot of air you got to move around in here. And with 4 vents back there, no third row vents, because there's no third row, right? Yeah, I'll continue on here. This is weird. It's a crystal shift knob. Pull back once now. Any more than that, you're playing with it. It used to be you had to do it twice. Obviously, I got mints in there to show you how deep this thing is. It's not that deep, but that's your cup holder. 1, 2, possibly a third, which is nice to have. And that's where you're going to put cards, and they're going to get lost forever. Everything gets stuck in there and lost. But, you know, no wireless charging pad, which you won't need because you don't need Android Auto, which drains your cell phone battery anyway, and you don't need it because it's already built in here. I can show maps, and if I wanted to, I can pull up satellite. We've got traffic, we've got everything else. See? So not bad, right? So this is the thing. It's new, it's cutting edge, but it's not quite, you know, great, because I think we've been battling some stupid administration, bureaucracy nonsense, and I think that's about to behoove us to move forward from that. And we may see the supercharged, turbocharged version come back, which would be great, because 315 horsepower is more what this thing needs in order to be a Subaru Slayer, right? But we're in drive. We're going to move forward. We have auto parking brake and auto hold for the brake lights and stuff. Now there is no sport mode for the transmission, which is weird, but we do have the Polestar mode. So you'll see it says Polestar engineered up there, because this is Polestar tuned, which is a factory tune that you can get that does not void the warranty, and it's got a pretty good exhaust sound on it. It doesn't do much to the car other than change the transmission. And I don't really care for this transmission because it's never really in my favorite gear. Let's come around here one more time. I love these roundabouts. Let's open the sunroof. Roll the windows down. Auto up and down on all 4. And you can open them and close them from your key as well. Typical Volvo-ness. Alright, we're going to keep it in sport mode and do this one more time. Ready? kind of a weird shaped roundabout here. It's kind of like an egg shape. Obviously going uphill is you know, not going to show the best performance out of this car, but it's quite not the intention. So to get back, we got to hit the gear, and then we got to go to driving. That's 1, 2, 3, which I don't know why that's better than the wheel that used to be there, but you know, to each their own. I don't know what else to tell you about this car, other than yes, you should take it on a road trip, and yes, it is going to be great for a quick run weekend kind of thing. And because it's lower than an SUV or a CUV, you're not subject to crosswinds. You know, you're not as high profile, so you're going to be more efficient and you're going to have better ride quality, because even though this is lifted, it's still not as high up as a CUV/SUV. So this is a weird segment, weird category. It doesn't necessarily make sense to a lot of people, but I think it does if you are definitely active, or you have a ski cabin or snow place you go to. And I mean, it's beautiful out here now until they build the houses 10, 2, 3 inches apart from each other. I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos on Frisco, and this is the area that you're seeing all these homes, like 1.1 million with $250,000 price cut, because nobody really wants to live this close to their neighbors. I'll go show you that real quick. The preserve. I wonder what they're preserving here. And that guard gate. Yep. I don't know what they're guarding. You can hear the turbo. Pretty nice. Let's open the sunroof. So it opens up pretty nice, and then if you hit it one more time, it'll open up just a little bit more. You know, the power is okay in the city street kind of space, you know, like under 45 miles an hour off the line. It's not the best when you floor it, because it's the transmission is trying to change gears first to second, like a weird space. I don't think they've really got it programmed right with the way the turbo is. Look at this craziness. It's not a house I'd want to live in, that's for sure. So the Volvo itself is nice, as Christopher Wagon would say. Very nice. But I still think that the Volvo is a step above what you'd be normally used to in Subarus. And yeah, you can definitely take the bends and corners with it and have some fun. Something that's also fun are these roundabouts, because it's Texas and these people don't know how to use roundabouts. Luckily nobody's here. Sticking to it. So yeah, there's good power here, and you can see there's a heads-up display showing just the speed limit and the speed I'm doing. It's kind of flickering on camera. That's just the camera. And obviously the stereo I cannot audition for you because YouTube. So be sure to like and subscribe so that you know, YouTube knows what you like, and that YouTube knows to give you more of my videos when I make updates. But here we are, you know, like that's the PGA headquarters that way, and the Omni Hotel, and this is where the homes are coming in. And it's kind of like this Volvo wagon, you know, like built for the time, maybe built to last, but probably not exactly what you want, and probably way more than you're comfortable paying. And I think that, well, you really don't have a choice. And I think you do get your money's worth if you do use it. Like if you do drive a lot, this would be great. If you don't drive a lot, then I don't see the point in actually even getting a new car. But, you know, to each their own. And some people rent cars to go on road trips, and I don't think you'll be ever seeing this thing in the rental lineup because it's a wagon, and it's the small wagon. It's not the big wagon like the 90. And I did review the 90 cross country, and to me, that was the same engine as this, the same setup, and underpowered. And I think that the best way to go is the XC90 SUV T8, which is, you know, again, the 455 horsepower. And the XC60, actually, if you don't need the big 3-row, you just get the 60. So yeah, it's definitely limited on the power. And then my concern about that, and the way I always mention that, is because out here in Texas, like, here's this tollway here. Speed limit is, for now, it's like 70 miles an hour. But I mean, people are not doing 70 miles an hour. They're doing like 90, which is completely fine in my book. It's just that when you're getting on the freeway, you gotta be able to get on the freeway. And I say that because you're in this 4-cylinder, just like most of these other cars, and it's like, how? See that was a weird gear change again. How are you going to be out of harm's way in your 4-cylinder or anything when everyone here is driving a big V8 powered pickup truck or a big V8 Suburban? You know, like, they have a lot more power than you and a lot more weight than you, and what are you doing getting in their way? They're not gonna be able to brake fast enough to get you know, to avoid you. And also, you shouldn't be in their way. This is Texas. Plus, it's not just the big V8s, it's the, you know, the EVs. There's a lot of Teslas here in Frisco because 45% of Frisco inhabitants work from home. And there's a lot of merging too, which also is another thing. Like, you know, the supercharged turbocharged didn't have any lag, and this kind of still has lag, although the hybrid here makes up for somewhat of the lack of the supercharger. But you're still driving this thing, and it's you're gonna be slower than a lot of people, but the handling's great. And so it's a trade-off, because if you get the 455 horsepower version of a Volvo, it's heavier, and, you know, you're kind of working around the mass sitting here in the tunnel where the battery normally goes, and then the front wheels are powered by the engine and the rear wheels are powered by the electric motor. So again, this road, the quality of the roads in Texas are variable, let's just say that. And because this thing is lifted and the older V-Wagon is normal ride height, I could drive more comfortably or confidently on these variable roads because I don't have to worry about being too low to the ground, and then I'm not too high off the ground. Thanks, Volvo, for paying the toll here. Okay, so we're doing 71. I'm getting off here anyway. But see, you don't have much room to merge, and this is why you would need the power, because we're also heading uphill. And you can't, you know, you don't want to have to drive like a bat out of hell, but we had no room there in that merge lane. Like, how are you going to get over? So that's why power is important to me here in Texas. And if you're going to have a hybrid, it better not be to save the planet. It better be to save your own ass. Because if you're too slow, you know, that could have been a catastrophic mistake. You know, you've got a lot of things to worry about. And the last thing you got to worry about is the environment. I'm just going to say that. Volvo probably doesn't agree with me, but I don't care. Brakes here are pretty strong too, which is important, obviously. And here's another 2 Teslas. So acceleration is going to be vital. And that's just the way it goes. Let's see if my gimbal that balances out. If I floor it here, it's just not the best. Even in comfort mode. We've already done it in. There are just times where it seems to take a little long to change gears, and it's like right at the peak of the turbo spool, and then it kind of falls on its face, and then it has to pick itself up again when it changes that gear to like second and then to third. And it's just kind of frustrating because literally, you know, there's more power than that, but it's tapping it out. It's just saying nope. And I don't know if that's the transmission or the throttle mapping or whatnot, but the Polestar tune is not impacting the comfort mode. From what I remember is that it only impacts the Polestar mode, which replaces sport mode or whatever you want to call the invigorating aspect of driving. It's kind of an oxymoron, but actually Volvos are known for their solid drivetrain and the safety, and actually they do move. They haul ass. That's what I'm gonna say. So yeah, that's it. Closing my sunroof here. Now you can hear the HVAC fan. That's the only downside is this fan. It just is a little loud to my taste and not very comforting from the relaxation standpoint. But yeah, you can see what I mean about ride quality. The ride quality here is good, and I think that if you were to get the 90, you'd have to get the air suspension, because that air suspension in any vehicle around here is definitely a blessing. But yeah, it's just, this is new. Everything else around here is new. It's all new, and you know, you got to choose wisely. But I appreciate you spending some time here watching this video, and I got more reviews coming. So thanks for watching. See you later. One last thing to note is this is the first car I've driven where it does not show you which side of the vehicle the tank flap filler thing is on. Luckily, I just decided, hey, right side of the instrument cluster must be the right side of the car.